Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here then welcome. My name is Evelyn. Today's video is a fun one. I have some fall DIYs for you guys. I have a very popular afloral dupe. I also have some Potterybarndupes and just some fun DIYs that you can recreate with maybe some items that you already own. I kept these very budget friendly and very easy so that way you guys can recreate them. So I'm very excited to share these. Now you all know that I love doing DIYs and just getting creative. It's an outlet for me and just so therapeutic to be painting, building, whatever I'm doing. I love that I'm able to step away from being a mom and have some me time to just get creative and do something that brings me joy. It's kind of like a reset and I get to fill my cup back up. So I love that I'm able to do all of these DIYs for you. And while DIYs are my form of therapy, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes what can help is actually speaking to a professional, a therapist who specializes in whatever you are struggling with, which brings me to today's sponsor, which is BetterHelp. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. I have shared them before and a lot of you have actually appreciated that I am sharing them, and I love sharing them with all of you. If you have never heard of BetterHelp, BetterHelp is an online therapy platform that makes it easier than ever to access professional support. They have over 30,000 licensed therapists in their network, so they can match you with a therapist that understands your unique needs and preferences. Whether you enjoy video chats, phone calls, or even messaging, BetterHelp offers a variety of ways for you to engage in therapy from the comfort of your own home, which I know is very important for moms because our lives are very busy. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or simply in need of some extra support, I highly encourage you to check out BetterHelp. You can visit betterhelp.com/evelynhernandez, or you can select Evelyn Hernandez at sign up for a special discount off your first month of therapy. I know therapy can sound very scary, so hopefully this is that little push that you needed to prioritize your mental health and be the best version of yourself for your family. It's 100% worth it. I truly hope you all enjoy these DIYs. They were so fun to make. So without further ado, let's get started. So for the first DIY, we are going to recreate the infamous Cimicifuga stems from Afloral. These are $28 a stem, which is pretty pricey if you plan on purchasing more than one. I found these stems on Amazon that had a very similar shape and fullness. I got a pack of 2 for $11.99. The shape of the leaf is similar, although the Afloral stem does have more edgy tips, and I'm sure you can get that exact look if you cut the leaves to look similar. However, in the end you will see that it's not necessary since you will get the same look and fullness. I picked up some craft paint from Michael's, so you will need Poetic Plum and black. I did purchase 2 Poetic Plums and 1 black. I mixed them together and started painting it on with a brush. I made sure to coat every leaf and also the little stem that each leaf had. Once the leaves had a good coat, I went in with a dry paper towel to gently rub off some of that paint, and since the original color is orange, it peeks through and gives you that perfect burgundy color just like the Afloral stems.
Tell your friends, but let them know we're safe. Let her on. The road is calling, sun.
I put them side by side so you can see how similar the color and the shape is. Trust me, in the end you won't be able to tell that they are not the Cimicifuga stem. I also found it a lot easier to remove all of the leaves from the stem. That way I can paint them a lot easier and it wouldn't get messy with all the other leaves. I will say this was very time consuming, but it just gave me such a similar look to the original stem and it was so affordable, so it was definitely worth it. So I encourage you to put on a YouTube video, listen to a podcast, and just enjoy the process of painting. Once they were all dry, I reassembled the leaves to the stem, which I didn't paint. I did leave it brown. That way it looked a little bit more realistic and not too dark. And there you go. You have a Cimicifuga dupe for just $14 compared to $56. The next DIY is one that I have done before, but we are going to do a little twist for fall. When I was at Hobby Lobby, I saw this pumpkin cutting board and instantly thought I should recreate my breadboard DIY. So the first thing that I did was sand it down just in case it had any coat on it. I used some sandpaper that I had on hand, but honestly I don't think this step is absolutely necessary. You can go straight in with a flathead screwdriver and just start distressing it. I made sure to add cracks and scratch it just to make it look old. There's honestly no wrong way in doing this, just have fun with it and start distressing it. Once you like how it looks, you're going to water down the color Melted Chocolate, which is a warm brown. I soaked the paper towel in the paint and started dabbing it around the edges of the board. This is going to give you that aged look that breadboards have, and make sure to wipe the color with a clean spot of the paper towel. That way it blends nicely and it doesn't leave any harsh marks and makes it noticeable on where you dab the paint.
From this old town we gotta go. Our bags are packed, so what we waiting for? There's no point in delaying what we both already know.
I then watered down some black paint and just repeated the same steps we did before. I dabbed it onto the board and then wiped it all together to make sure that it was blended. And as you can see, I focused the black only on the edges of the board. This is usually where authentic breadboards age the most, so that is what we are trying to recreate. Once you are satisfied with the color, you can let it dry out in the sun, and there you have it, a vintage pumpkin breadboard for just $14.
Such a sweet life, escape this time with me. Escape this time with me. Nowhere else to be. Escape this time with me.
This next DIY was inspired by these flameless pumpkin candles that I saw at Pottery Barn. They are originally $79 to $89, which is very expensive. I knew I could recreate them for a lot less, so I picked up 2 styrofoam pumpkins from Hobby Lobby. I got both of them for less than $6, which is such an amazing price. I also picked up some faux tea light candles from Target that I can twist on and off. You can also pick some up from Dollar Tree. The first thing I did was remove the stem, and then I placed the tea light candle on top. That way I could trace out the circle I would need to cut out in order for the tea light candle to fit. Also, be very careful with the object that you use to cut out the circle. I only had a knife, so I was very careful when removing that circle. I also made sure to place the candle inside to see if I needed to remove any extra styrofoam, and just repeated the same exact steps with the other pumpkin.
We could talk under moonlight till dawn. We could stay to watch the sunrise. Cancel all our plans. We don't need a reason why we just can't.
Once that was all done, I then went in with some paint. So I went in with tan and also the color Territorial Beige. I added some baking soda because I wanted these pumpkins to have a ceramic texture. So all I did was just paint them on. I made sure to also paint the inside of the hole, and I did do about 2 to 3 coats of paint. So I let them dry and then I added another coat since the original color was peeking through. So for the taller pumpkin, I used the color tan, and then for the smaller pumpkin I used the color Territorial Beige.
I wish I could stop time and stay in this moment, never think about going. Won't you stay with me for a little while?
I also made sure to paint the tea light candles so they can blend in with the pumpkin, so I did about 2 coats on those as well. And once those were completely dry, I then mixed both of those colors with melted chocolate. That way I can add some dimension in between the creases of the pumpkin. I just used a small detailed brush and started rubbing the paint on the crease, and to blend it all together I used the original color of the pumpkin. This DIY is super simple, very easy, and also very affordable. You can get the exact same look for just $10 in comparison to $158. The fourth DIY is probably my favorite. Pottery Barn has these beautiful pumpkin glass candles. They have 2 different sizes and many different colors, and when I was at Hobby Lobby I found some glass pumpkin jars that we can use to make our own candles. Of course I had to do a fall scent, so I used a $6 candle from Threshold that smells amazing. I melted the wax in boiling water and then I removed the original wicks to reuse them for our DIY candle. I just stuck them onto the bottom of the jar with the leftover wax that they had. I then carefully poured the wax into the pumpkin jar. Please be very careful when you are doing this because it is very hot. And then I taped the wicks to a colored pencil that I had. You can honestly use anything to hold them up. It does take about an hour for the wax to harden so that then you can use your own candle. So I then repeated the exact same steps onto the other pumpkin jar, and there you have it, a glass pumpkin candle for a fraction of the cost. You can style it with the lid tilted, on top of a coffee table book, on a cutting board, honestly anywhere. I am so happy with how this turned out. Moving on to the next DIY, we are going to recreate another item from Pottery Barn. This time we are going to be making this leaf object that they sell for $30. I went to Michael's and picked up some clay. I got 2 packets of clay for less than $5. I first flattened both packets of clay to make it easier to work with. I then put them together and started rolling them out. I used clay tools that I already had, but you can honestly use anything to roll it out. A pencil, a marker, anything that is a cylinder shape will help you roll it out. Now to get the desired shape that I wanted, I would remove clay from certain parts to then attach them to another section and then rolled it together to make it smooth. I then found a leaf picture on Google. I printed it and cut it and then placed it on top of the clay. I again removed pieces of clay from certain sections to make sure I had clay on each part of the leaf, and once I was happy with it, I started cutting out the leaf. You can use a plastic knife or a butter knife for this if you don't have the clay tools that I am using. The clay is so soft, so it's very easy to cut out. Now to get the desired shape that I wanted, I used a mini bowl that I had. That way I could get that bowl shape very similar to the Pottery Barn leaf. I pressed it onto the mini bowl and left it there for about 30 minutes. That way it can kind of form, and then I transferred it over to a glass cup because we do need to bake it at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. Once it is done baking, I let it cool for about 30 minutes. That way you prevent it from cracking. I then transferred it over to a plastic cup because I decided to spray paint mine. This is absolutely not necessary. I think the brown color that it is perfect for fall, but I had this spray paint on hand and it gave me a very similar look to the one from Pottery Barn. I was able to recreate the leaf object for just $5 compared to $30. last but not least, we are going to be recreating these beautiful paper mache apples that I picked up this year from Amazon. Now you can definitely recreate these with apples that I saw at Hobby Lobby, but I wanted to switch it up and do pears. These were less than $2, so it was such a great price. I didn't want the original color to peek through, so I decided to paint them a lighter color. I just used what I had, which was this color. It's called Parchment, and I picked it up at Michael's. And for this DIY, you will need some tissue paper. I got this one from Dollar Tree, and you will also need some glue, but I'm pretty sure that Mod Podge will also work fine since I think they are the same thing. The first step is to mix 1 part glue and 1 part water, and then I ripped up the tissue paper into little pieces. You can probably get away with using just 1 tissue paper since the pears are so small. So to get started, I placed the tissue paper onto the pear and then I brushed the glue mixture on top. That way the tissue paper could stick onto the pear, and eventually the tissue paper starts sticking onto the pear by itself since it is wet, but I just used a brush to brush it on, and you are basically going to repeat this step until you are happy with how it looks and you like the texture of the pear. I had mine sitting inside drying, but they were taking forever to dry, so I just placed mine outside in the sun so that they could dry a lot faster.
Escape this time with me. Escape this time with me. Nowhere else to be. Escape this time.
Once they were completely dry, I decided to paint them, so I poured a few colors but ultimately only used the colors linen and white. They are both from Michael's. I used a wet paper towel to dab them onto the pear, so I first would add the color linen and then I would add the white on top, and since the paper towel was wet, it made them blend very easily, so I just repeated this all over the pear until I was happy with the color. I of course also did this to the other pear, and I did want to add a little bit more dimension, so I watered down the color Melted Chocolate that I purchased from Walmart and started dabbing it all over the pear. Since the color is watered down, it blends it very easily and it leaves a small hint of brown on the pear, which I really like, and it kind of resembles those paper mache apples that I got from Amazon. I also painted the stem brown because it originally comes in this green color and I didn't like how it looks, so I painted that the same exact color Melted Chocolate.
Don't wait for me, honey.
I am very happy with how these came out, and I can't believe I achieved it for just $7.
'Cause I'm always heading your way. And I know.
Alright you guys, that concludes today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed and got lots of ideas on DIYs that you can make for the fall season. I love how they turned out. Let me know down below in the comments, what did you think? Which one was your favorite? I would love to know. And I did want to do another little giveaway, so I have gotten so many comments and messages saying that I can sell these DIYs, and I wish I had the time to sit down and create multiple of these DIYs, but as a mom of 2, that is very hard. But I thought it would be really fun to give these away to one of you, so I'm going to put all of them in a box and ship them to one lucky winner. And all you have to do is just leave a comment down below and let's do the pumpkin emoji. We'll do the pumpkin emoji, so just leave a comment down below and the pumpkin emoji and you will be automatically entered. I'm so excited for one of you to have all of these DIYs. I think that's so special, and I truly hope that the person that wins loves all of these items as much as I do. And if you do want to recreate them, I will have links to everything down below, including the paint colors that I use, so that you can recreate them yourself. Anyways, I appreciate all of you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.